News: the war in Iran, President Trump's new demand, and his Russia now helping Iran find us troops across the region. And tonight, right here, the video of that American F-15 fighter jet being shot down by a Kuwaiti warplane in the air. President Trump now demanding Iran's unconditional surrender. Tonight, the White House is asked, what that unconditional surrender looks like. Airstrikes intensifying across Iran. An Iranian drone carrier struck at sea up in flames. Sources now telling ABC News tonight the U.S. believes Russia is providing intelligence to help Iran target American forces. And tonight, we're now seeing the video showing the moment a U.S. fighter jet was mistakenly shot down by a Kuwaiti warplane in the air. Ian Panel standing by, live from the region tonight, with much of the Middle East relying on U.S. interceptors to block Iranian missiles and drones. President Trump now meeting with several major defense contractors urging them to boost production. Tonight, the price of oil now surging, the highest weekly spike ever. Analysts tonight warning it could soon top $100 a barrel where gas prices now stand. Tonight, the new spike and the news on American jobs. Tonight, the U.S. losing 92,000 jobs last month. The other news this Friday night, the deadly tornado killing a mother and daughter trapped in their car in the storm at a major line of severe storms. We're watching from Texas up to the Great Lakes to New York. Lee Goldberg has the forecast. Tonight's news. In that horrific case, the 22-year-old Iowa man now charged in the killings of 3 women in a different state. One woman in her home while she was watching TV, 2 others, an aunt and her niece, as they were preparing to go hiking. And tonight, police here on why he says he did it tonight. Thousands gathering for a final farewell to the Reverend Jesse Jackson, former President Obama, Biden, and Clinton all paying tribute. There is news tonight in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Authorities are back in Guthrie's neighborhood going door to door. What they're now asking the neighbors. The deadly plane crashed today right onto a golf course. What we've learned in our Person of the Week, it turns out, March Madness has come early. Even the announcers couldn't keep up. Oh, 5 mercy. You have to see and hear this from ABC News World Headquarters in New York. This is World News Tonight with David Muir. Good evening. We begin tonight here with breaking news in the war in Iran. President Trump now demanding Iran's unconditional surrender. The White House tonight asked to explain what that looks like, and sources now telling ABC News the U.S. now believes Russia is providing Iran with intelligence on U.S. troops and where they are across the region. Tonight, U.S. Central Command releasing video showing an airstrike on an Iranian drone carrier. The U.S. now reporting 43 Iranian Navy ships have been struck, more than 3,000 targets hit. There's also new video tonight showing the moment that American F-15 was mistakenly shot down by a Kuwaiti fighter jet. 2 other fighter jets shot down too. All of the American pilots survived. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Panel on the president's new demand tonight. For Iran and this new concern, Russia is now helping to target U.S. troops. Also tonight, President Trump demanding Iran's unconditional surrender as the U.S. and Israel intensify attacks. And in an alarming new development, sources telling ABC News the U.S. believes Russia has been providing Iran with the locations of American troops in the region, including aircraft and ships. Just today, Iranian missile debris igniting this fire at a military base in Kuwait, where U.S. troops are stationed. No injuries reported. The White House trying to downplay the impact of Russian interference. It clearly is not making a difference with respect to the military operations in Iran, because we are completely decimating them. But in another sign of potential escalation tonight, 3 U.S. officials telling ABC News the Army abruptly canceling a major training deployment that moved fueling speculation the 82nd Airborne, the Pentagon's premier ground combat unit, may be getting ready to deploy to the Middle East if needed, but officials stress there are no orders to deploy right now. Iranian officials warning thousands of lives would be lost if the U.S. sending ground troops. Tonight, with the world's largest aircraft carrier, the U.S.'s Gerald Ford, now moving into the Red Sea, the Pentagon saying the U.S. has struck more than 3,000 targets in Iran, Israel releasing dramatic new video, 50 fighter jets striking the late Ayatollah Khamenei's underground bunker complex in Tehran. Israel saying senior Iranian officials were still using it, but no word on the fate of those inside. And Israel expanding strikes deeper into Lebanon, relentlessly bombing Beirut in an area known to be a stronghold of the Iranian proxy group Hezbollah. Our Matt Rivers on the scene. There's another missile coming in right now. You can hear that explosion there. That was the second strike. There was one just before that, and that comes after a series of strikes all day long. And as we move into the night, it could be a very long night for the people down there. Long lines as hundreds of thousands race to escape, warned to evacuate their homes by Israel. And tonight, new details of that horrific strike on a girls' school in southern Iran on the first day of the war. Iran saying 168 people were killed, a child's textbook covered in blood in the aftermath. Sources say that while the U.S. investigation into the incident remains ongoing, officials believe it's possible American forces are responsible for the attack because they were conducting strikes in the vicinity of the school at the time of the incident, retired Master Sergeant Wes Bryant, who worked in the Pentagon office that assesses civilian casualties, telling ABC News he believes the building was targeted. I could tell immediately that this compound was deliberately targeted. I know since we've seen at least 7 different target points that were individually targeted by munitions within this compound very clearly. Israel says its forces weren't operating in the area, but 6 days since the attack the US still looking into it, saying it would never deliberately target civilians. We of course never target civilian targets, but we're taking a look and investigating that. And 4. The first time tonight, we're seeing the moment a Kuwaiti warplane shot down an American F-15 fighter jet. In video posted to TikTok, flames shooting out of that US jet as it spiraled to the ground. One of 3 F-15 is shot down the same day by friendly fire, both pilots ejecting safely. Thank you for helping us. And tonight, relief for some Americans still stuck in the region, the U.S. chartering a New England Patriots plane carrying hundreds of Americans home. Overall, at least 24,000 U.S. citizens have left the Middle East since the war erupted. David, the president demanding an unconditional surrender from Iran. Something the regime is unlikely to agree to amid growing concerns about how much intelligence Russia is now giving to Iran to help target American forces. David, Ian Panel leading us off here again tonight. Incredible reporting all week long, Ian, thank you. And much of the Middle East relying on these U.S. interceptors to block those Iranian missiles and drones. President Trump now meeting with several major defense contractors urging them to boost production. Amid growing questions over whether the U.S. has enough missile interceptors to protect American interests and at least 6 other allies in the region from a barrage of Iranian attacks, tonight President Trump meeting with the nation's top defense contractors, urging them to boost production. The president has given no clear timetable for how long the war will last, but now says the end will require Iran's, quote, unconditional surrender. What does the president mean when he calls for unconditional surrender? Is he saying that the regime has to fully relinquish control? What the president means is that when he, as commander-in-chief of the U.S. Armed Forces, determines that Iran no longer poses a threat to the United States of America and the goals of Operation Epic Fury have been fully realized, then Iran will essentially be in a place of unconditional surrender. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying it doesn't much matter whether Iran actually says it surrenders or not. Tonight, the president telling Axios unconditional surrender could be that the Iranians announce it, but it could also be when they can't fight any longer because they don't have anyone or anything to fight with. The president says he will have to approve Iran's next leader, but he hasn't said how that would happen. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has made this promise. No nation-building quagmire, no democracy-building exercise. Tonight, Trump pledging the U.S. and allies will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Before adding Make Iran Great Again, the White House posting hype videos on their official X account, interspersing images of deadly American attacks with cartoons, action movie clips, and video games. Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth, who received a Purple Heart after losing both her legs in Iraq, posting, "War is not a video game. 6 Americans are dead and thousands more are at needless risk because of your illegal, unjustified war." President Trump tomorrow will attend the dignified transfers of the 6 Americans killed so far in this war. We asked the White House if the president has spoken with their families, and we're told he plans to tomorrow. We honor those Americans and their families tonight. We're also tracking the surging price of oil, the highest weekly price increase ever. There's news tonight on American jobs. The U.S. losing 92,000 jobs last month. The stock market tumbling this week on the news. The Dow dropping 453 points today alone. The Nasdaq and S&P 500 down as well. We are seeing a record-breaking surge in the price of oil as the war in Iran chokes off global supply. Oil prices are up 35% and the biggest weekly price increase ever. A barrel of oil now above $90. Some analysts warn it could soon top $100. Americans are seeing these price hikes at the pump every day. The national average for a gallon of gas stands at $3.39. That's up more than 40 cents in the last week. Tonight, there is another warning sign for the economy. The new jobs report shows that the U.S. lost 92,000 jobs last month and the unemployment rate ticked up to 4.4%. Economists were expecting a boost in hiring. This signals the job market is heading in the wrong direction. Dangerous storms targeting the heartland for the 3rd night in a row. A tornado ripping up buildings in 3 Rivers, Michigan. Debris swirling outside. Stores and homes torn apart. Authorities say 2 people were inside a vehicle when it was hit by a tornado near Fairview, Oklahoma. Tragically, mother and daughter Jody and Lexi Owens did not survive. Storms set to continue into tonight. 6 states under tornado watches with the severe threat from Texas to the Great Lakes. The risk will shift east on Saturday from Texas all the way to the northeast. Authorities in Wayne County, Utah say 22-year-old Ivan Miller confessed to killing 3 women in cold blood. Police say he was traveling through Utah when he hit an elk and totaled his truck. Days later in Need of money and a vehicle, he allegedly killed 86-year-old Margaret Oldroyd while she was sitting watching television and stole her Buick Regal. Police say he later shot 65-year-old Linda Dewey and her niece 34-year-old Natalie Graves at a trailhead and stole their Subaru Outback before fleeing across 4 states. Miller was taken into custody in Colorado without incident and is expected in court in May for his arraignment. Thousands gathering in Chicago for a final farewell to Reverend Jesse Jackson, former Presidents Obama, Biden, and Clinton all paying tribute. Obama saying without Jesse Jackson there would be no Obama presidency. Biden saying he changed history in ways numerous and profound. Detectives in Tucson back in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood going door to door asking neighbors if they had any Wi-Fi lapses the night before Nancy was last seen. Authorities not revealing why they're asking. Savannah Guthrie and her family offering a $1 million reward for information. One person was killed when a small plane crashed onto a golf course in Albuquerque. The pilot was attempting an emergency landing. 2 people were on board, 1 died and the other is in critical condition. Finally tonight in Grimes, Iowa, just outside Des Moines, the whole town cheering after a jaw-dropping ending to a high school girls' basketball game. Sophomore Avis Mid scored for baskets in a row in the final 40 seconds to win the game for Dallas Center Grimes High School. After the game, Ava said, "If we believe in each other and stick through it, then we'll pull this game out with a win." Eva and the Mustangs now heading into their championship game, proving you should never, ever give up even with just 40 seconds left.